All right, everybody, welcome to the last, this is always hard for me to get right, the last fourth Thursday virtual open mic here at the Chatham Community Library of this year. We're going to start them back up in January, but this is the last one for this year because we're going to have a lot of holiday stuff coming up during this time. So we're really glad that you guys came back. And we hope that you'll peg us on your calendar and come back and see us in 2021. But first, before we say goodbye, we got to have another show, right? So the first person we have on the docket is Mr. Wyatt Easterling. He's going to play us a couple of tunes, I think. I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do, Wyatt?
I didn't know I had a choice. I saw that later. I thought maybe I could try juggling, which I can't do anyway, but it might be fun to watch for a few minutes. I think I'll play a couple of songs.
Let's do that.
Cool. Well, let me get rid of these. And my biggest fear in all of this is that the sound is proper, so Wes assures me it sounds as decent as it's going to. So I've got a tune here. It's called This Old House. It's one of my favorites to play. It goes like this. This old house is where my story first begins. I got the word that progress was closing in. There's a beat up bulldozer revving up in the drive. Strange to think this will be our final goodbye. It's a shame to see the old girl going out this way, so far removed from her glory days. The vines have grown twisted across the front gate, a homeless scene behind Mother Nature's crime tape. This old house will always be a part of me. You can holler away, but in my heart you remain. I'm leaving here with Polaroids of forgotten dreams. I grew like a pair of worn down jeans. Peering down the front hall behind those kicked-in doors, looking for some fine sign-wood floors. Some local kids have been camping out here and partying late. I used to do the same thing too at that age. Watch the cars whizzing by out on the real estate. Some would call that progress, and some would call that fate. I remember kissing Kate and a chance on that front porch swing. I heard she lost her battle back in the early spring. Still, it's gonna be alright. I can call her to mind any old time. I need a childhood peace of mind. Well, this old house will always be a part of me. You can holler away, but in my heart she'll remain. I'm leaving here with Polaroids of forgotten dreams. I grew like a pair of worn down jeans. Well, this old house is where my story first begins. I got the word that progress was moving in. Clap, clap, clap. And now, I'll pull out my classical guitar. And since we only have 10 minutes, I'm going to jump right into this next one. I love playing classical. I got this Yoko when I went to Japan, and I came home with this. Wow. Talk about a souvenir. But this song, it's called So Have I. Leaves falling like pieces of my heart. When did we drift so far apart? Birds have flown and so have I, so have I, so have I, so have I. What good are all these tears? We'll always end up right back here, waiting for a summer breeze to lift me up and set me free. Leaves falling like pieces of my heart. When did we drift so far apart? Birds have flown and so have I, so have I, so have I, so have I. Looking down from way up here, funny how things become so clear. Little distance, time and space, we'll both be in a better place. Leaves falling like pieces of my heart. When we drift so far apart, birds have flown and so have I, so have I, so have I. So have I. There's no one to blame. We both played our part. Let's leave something here. This is not who we are. Leaves falling like pieces of my heart. When did we drift so far apart? Birds have flown and so have I, 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 so have I. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is honey. Honey number 2.
Yes. Well done, Mr. Easterling.
Thanks.
Very well done. Thanks for kicking us off, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
I very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Come back in January if you would.
I will.
All right. So our next performer, is that the right word? Would be Marie Vanderbeck. Have you been at every one of these so far, Marie?
I have, thank you. Yes, I have.
Yeah, this has been great. It's good to.
Yeah, it's fun.
What do you got for us today?
I'm so glad you're doing this. So
Me
I'll
too.
start out with Emmylou Harriet's homage.
Bring it.
Me and my best friend Lillian and her blue tick hound dog Gillian, sitting on the front porch, cooling in the shade, singing every song that the radio played, waiting for the Alabama sun to go down to red dirt girls in a red dirt town. Me and Lillian, just across the line and a little southeast of Meridian. She loved her brother, I remember back when he was fixing up a 49 Indian. He told her little sister, gonna ride the wind up to the moon and back again. He never got further from Vietnam. I was standing there when the letter come for Lillian. Now he's lying somewhere about 1,000,000 miles from Meridian. She said there's not much hope for a red dirt girl. Somewhere out there is a great big world. That's where I'm bound. And the stars might fall on Alabama, but one of these days I'm gonna swing my hammer down away from this red dirt town. I'm gonna make a joyful sound. She grew up tall, she grew up thin, buried that old dog Gideon by a crepe myrtle bush at the back of the yard. Her daddy turned mean and her mama leaned hard, got in trouble with the boy from town, figured that she might as well settle down, so she dug right in. Cross the red dirt line just a little southeast of Meridian. She tried hard to love him, but it never did take. It was just another way for her heart to break, so she learned to bend. But one thing they don't tell you about the blues when you get them, you keep on falling, 'cause there ain't no bottom and there ain't no end. At least not for Lillian. Nobody knows when she started her skid. She was only 27, had 5 kids. Could have been the whiskey, could have been the pills, could have been the dreams she was trying to kill. But there won't be a mention in the news of the world about the life and the death of a red dirt girl named Lillian, who never got any farther across the line than Meridian. Now the stars still fall on Alabama the night she finally laid that old hammer down. Without a sound in the red dirt ground.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one?
Oh, please.
Oh, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you could say, "Oh, please, no." Or,
Yeah.
"Oh, please."
No.
So this next one is no. The next one is kind of an Appalachian song, but taken from the Scots Irish. I'm going to do that a cappella. Early one morning in spring, hear the birds whistle, the nightingales sing. I spied a fair maiden who gaily did sing. I am going to be married next Monday morning. Well, how old are you, my pretty young thing? Here in this valley so green. How old are you, my pretty young thing? I am going to be 16 next Monday morning. Well, 16 years old is too young for to wed. I'd stay a bit longer in my own single bed. For marriage brings troubles and trials, you'll see. I'd put off that wedding next Monday morning. I promised to marry, and marry I shall. 4 years I've been waiting against my own will. My true love has sent me a gay bauble ring to put on my finger next Monday morning. Next Monday evening, as you lie in your bed, and you turn and you look at the man you have wed, around your middle both arms he will fling, and you'll wish to your soul it was Monday morning. That's for women who are married and women who aren't married.
Woo.
I know.
Marie, you still got 4 minutes to go if you got time for another song.
I do.
All right.
And my honey's sitting behind me, but that's okay because it's okay.
You're already married?
So this next one is a song about don't mess around with the woman scorned. My clothes are all ragged. My goodwill coat's a best. And I'm walking on cardboard in my last dollar dress. I looked in the closet for my wedding gown, but the box that it came in was all that I found. He took everything with him that wasn't nailed down. Guess he's got a new sweetheart to wear my wedding gown. But someday I'll find him and I'll have peace of mind. And the box he comes home in will be all satin lined. He took everything with him that wasn't nailed down. Guess he's got a new sweetheart to wear my wedding gown. But somehow I'll find him and I'll have peace of mind. And the box he comes home in will be all satin lined. Don't mess around with her.
Oh, there we go. Well done, Marie.
That was fun.
Always a pleasure. Next up is Mr. Tom Padovano. He's going to do some spoken word stand-up comedy, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure. You tell us what it is. I might have got it wrong.
Stand-up comedy, yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very happy to be here. I hope everybody's doing okay with the coronavirus. Now, I'm still working, but I said, boss, can I work from home? He said, no, you're a cab driver. He had a point. Now, every day I use soap. I use disinfectant. I use Purell. I'm all washed up. Really, I'm all washed up. And it's a good thing. Now, you know who's doing really well on the dating scene since the coronavirus? Mr. Clean. Yeah, all the women want to date Mr. Clean. Now, I'm a very clean person. Like, I'll be in the shower for over 2 hours. Then I'll turn on the water. It's the kind of guy I am. Now, I've had a lot of crazy bosses. Had one. If I made a mistake, she'd say, Tom, look at the mistake you made. But if he made a mistake, it was, oh, Tom, look at the mistake we made. So I said, well, boss, look at the ugly dress we're wearing. Then I had this other boss, a real tough guy. Every day he'd say, so, working hard or hardly working? I grabbed him around the neck and said, well, boss, breathing hard or hardly breathing? Now, I hated going on interviews. I went on one, they said, Tom, this job pays $1,000 a week, but in 6 months, it goes to $2,000 a week. I said, great, I'll come back in 6 months. They told me not to bother. And I come from a poor family in New York, but every year, my parents sent me to summer camp in January. That saved them some money. Now, when I was a kid, my mom and I didn't get along. When I was 7, I said, Mom, am I adopted? Oh, son, not yet, but I'm working on it. And then I remember, I don't know how many years ago this was. I said, Mommy, I wanted a toy truck for Christmas. Santa didn't get me one. I'm upset. She goes, oh, shut up. You're 30 years old. And then I remember my father building me a tree house when I turned 35 and him yelling, get out of the basement, move into the tree. And I had some tough teachers, like my gym teacher. When we played dodgeball, he drove the dodge. Oh, I tell you, I was a terrible student. I wasn't the class clown. I was the class idiot. Do you know any other kid left back so much he was excused for jury duty in 3rd grade? Terrible. I mean, it was so embarrassing. My teacher made my parents write on the blackboard 100 times, we won't have more kids. Oh, goodness. And now I have this terrible apartment. My apartment has a bug problem. It is bad. I tried to open the kitchen cabinet door. It was being pulled shut from the other side. Now, the other day, I ran out of Raid, but I sprayed a cockroach with furniture polish. It died, but had a great shiny finish. Never seen a dead bug look so good. Now, like I said, I'm in New York, and it's a tough town, like in the subways here. A few months ago, I'm on a crowded subway train. This man collapses out of his seat, holding his chest. So this man from the other side of the subway car yells, I'm a doctor, let me through, I'm a doctor. So we let him through, and he takes the guy's seat. Sits right there with the man on the floor. Terrible. And crazy people travel on the subways in New York. This guy said to me, do you know what train goes to Coney Island? No, I don't. I do. Nah. Nuts, I'm telling you. And the cab drivers in New York speak over 60 different languages. And not one of them is English. Oh, well, I take the cab sometimes because I haven't been feeling well lately, and I'm looking for a new health plan. There's so many. You got Blue Cross. You got Blue Shield. You got Blue Velvet. I didn't choose any of those. I chose IHOP, International House of Physicians. Well, I love their slogan. If we can't cure you, we will pay for your funeral. So they get me this doctor, Dr. Julio Alejandro Bernstein. He got mad at me. I said, doctor, it hurts me when I touch here. Hurts me when I touch here. Hurts me when I touch here. He goes, idiot, you got a broken finger. I would have never thought of that. Then he said that I have certain problems. You know what I mean? So he sends me to the Vincent van Gogh Mental Health Center and Ear Clinic. But you know what? I like it there because they have entertainers come in. Like once they had this hypnotist. He got 5 of us on stage. We were cackling like chickens, barking like dogs. Then he hypnotized us. Kind of spoiled things, you know. And I admit, I see a psychologist. Now, my psychologist has his sessions while he drives. But if the session isn't going well, he drives backwards and tries reverse psychology. This is amazing, you know? But, you know, it's so important to have a good doctor. I feel sorry for my neighbor. Her doctor said, Mrs. Sicarina, you only have 10 to live. She goes, what do you mean? 10 years? 10 months? He said 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, come on, that's not nice. But you know what's important? If you want good things to happen for you, you got to do your part, right? It's like my Uncle Luigi. Every Sunday we go to church together. Every Sunday he prays the same prayer. Oh God, please let me win the lottery. Oh God, please let me win the lottery. So the sky gets dark and a voice comes from the sky and says, you want to win the lottery? Do me a favor. Buy a ticket. You gotta be in it to win it. Come on. Well, I used to be in a relationship, but my girlfriend dumped me. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. A couple of days before she dumped me, I said, honey, while you were dating me, were you dating other men? She goes, oh, come on. You're the 5th guy to ask me that today. Terrible. And I'm not good at meeting women. I went to this club. I said to this woman, hey, babe, what's your sign? Keep off. Terrible. Oh, I was talking to this one woman. I'm not sure if she said I was a breath of fresh air or I needed a breath freshener. Oh, it's tough, you know. Now, I do remember my first love. And I remember saying to her, oh, Hortense, I know I'm not as smart as Johnny. I'm not as handsome as Johnny. And I don't make as much money as Johnny. But Hortense, I will love you forever. And she said, Tom, that is so sweet. But tell me more about Johnny. Oh, God. It's not easy out there. But let me tell you something. You have been a wonderful audience. Confused, yes, but wonderful. And I sincerely hope that you've had as much fun and pleasure as I've had tension and emotional strain. Oh, don't worry about me. I'll just go back to the Vincent Van Gogh Mental Health Center and Ear Clinic. Maybe it'll change my medication. Anyhow, I'm very happy to say that this was my last 10 minutes of community service. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the show.
Bravo, Tom.
Yeah. Excellent, Tom. You even had a brick wall behind you.
Yes.
That was so cool. Thank you so much for the laugh. That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for your entertainment. I enjoyed it.
Oh, really? Thanks a lot, Tom.
Thank you.
Excellent. Come back and see us.
I'd like to. Thank you.
All right.
Tom, do you live in New York too?
I do. Yes. Where are you?
Oh, so we're in North Carolina here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How
Yeah.
did he get hooked up with
Yeah.
us?
How'd you hear about us, Tom?
I think I just Googled open mics, virtual open mics, and there you popped up.
Wow.
Wow. We're far flung.
Yeah, very good.
That's
So
pretty
that's
cool.
great.
Well, hello, New York.
Hope to see you again next month.
Excellent. Yeah, likewise. Well, actually, Tom, we're not on next month, but our next one is January. We're going to take a break for the holidays.
Okay. Should I give you my email to contact me or anything?
Now, just kind of keep an eye on us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Be
good.
fine. So the next person up on our docket is Danny. I'm not sure if Danny is available. Are you with us, Danny?
was good timing, I guess.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really enjoyed the last one. Oh, Anita, hello there. How are you? Good to see you as well. And Tom, thank you for coming in from New York. Are you in Manhattan or the Bronx or where?
I'm in Queens, right by LaGuardia Airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might notice my last name.
Yeah, that's a cool name to have in New York.
Yeah, over the years, I've had people ask me if it's my stage name, and I go, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Otherwise, you could choose like Batman. Batman got.
Well, when I was a kid, it was an incessant kind of line. So anyway, yeah, this is great. I really enjoy this a lot. So you want about 10 minutes worth of musical mirth and merriment, huh? So let's see. How about unlike a couple of the people in this circle, notably Mr. West and Mr. Wyatt, I am not really a songwriter, but I know how to pick them. I'll tell you that. I know how to pick good songs. I'll say that in my favor. I'm pretty confident in saying that. So I'm going to do one. Let's start out with one by Norman Blake, who's one of definitely in my top 10 musical heroes. I was just thinking about this song. Da, 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 Down by the county bridge, the gondola road, hauling down to Birmingham, the dirty half-slag coal. I should let her move me on, come sunshine, rain, or drought. It's just like the circle says, Southern serves the South. Hardships and troubles, don't you know I've had some? I'm getting older every day, I'm a fair-weathered bum. Let me tell you, good people here, it's just about time to catch a slow train through Georgia and ease your worried mind. 40 miles an hour, she's rolling down the line. Greasy rails, red-clad trails through the long-leaf pines. Any place that sunshine falls is where I want to be. Sunshine, Southern special, won't you roll me to the sea? Hardships and troubles, don't you know I've had some? Getting older every day, I'm a fair-weathered bum. Let me tell you, good people here, it's just about time to catch a slow train through Georgia and ease your worried mind. I wish I was living day by day, someplace down the track. Come on, gal, my old pal, don't you know we'll not look back? I'll take down this old guitar and I'll play her every day. Let the slow train through Georgia take your blues away. hardships and troubles. Don't you know I've had some? I'm getting older every day. I'm a fair-weathered bum. Let me tell you, good people here, it's just about time to catch a slow train through Georgia and ease a worried mind. To catch a slow train through Georgia and ease a worried mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a great song, truly. Uh, I'm not looking at the clock. Um, I was going to do
You're
just
good.
okay.
You're good.
I'll do two more. Okay. Let's see. Well, I have written a fair amount of instrumentals, so let me do one of those for you. I was thinking about pulling this one out of my hat. Another one of my really, really big musical heroes was a guy named Dave Van Rock. He was known as the mayor of McDougal Street. He's the guy that had the couch that a young guy named Bob Dylan crashed on the first time he went to New York City. If you ever saw, what was the Coen Brothers film? The Coen Brothers film.
Lou Allen Davis.
Yes, 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 yeah. It was very loosely based on the life of Van Rock, but Van Rock was a one-of-a-kind talent. There's really nobody like him. He wasn't just a folk singer or a guitar player. Uh, he was really something very special. I got to see him play twice, and he made me sweat both times. He was so intense. So anyway, when I did a recording a couple of years back, there was solo tracks, things that were supposed to be able to be rendered, in a solo performance. And one of the albums that I remember listening to the most when I was younger was a record by Van Rock called Sunday Street. And he did this old blues song called Nobody Knows the Way I Feel This Morning. But I could never learn to sing it like him because his voice was just indescribable. And I was talking to Roy Bookbinder about this. And he said, "Don't worry about singing. I said, just play the guitar part." And I said, "That's a great idea." So anyway, I took the basic guitar part, and I came up with some variations on it. I just call it the DVR Blues. It's dedicated to Dave Van Rock. So every time I play it, it's a little differently. right.
Excellent.
Fans are going wild. All right, I'll do one more. I was telling someone earlier today. They were asking me about how I like to play music, and I always say like I prefer to be the second banana. I didn't want to be Johnny Carson. I wanted to be Ed McMahon. You know, so. I especially love, there's two people right here, Wyatt and Wes, who I dearly love playing behind because I like supporting great songs, and they both know how to write really great ones. Among the other people I've had pleasure to play with over the years, I don't know, maybe about a dozen gigs a few years back with one of my heroes. This guy's name is Tom Paxton, and so it was one of the thrills of my life to play this song with him. It was like, pinch me, am I really doing this? You know, but like most other songs that I do, I like to take them and kind of change them up a little bit. So I changed up the chords a little bit on this. This is The Last Thing on My Mind. It's a lesson too late for learning. Made of sand, made of sand. In a wink of an eye, my soul is turning in your hand, in your hand. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. No, that was the last thing on my mind. You got reasons plenty for going. This I know, this I know. For the weeds have been steadily growing. Please don't go, please don't go. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. No, that was the last thing on my mind. As we walk along, my thoughts are tumbling round and round, round and round. Underneath, feel the subway rumbling underground, underground. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. As I lie in my bed in the morning, without you, without you. Each thought in my breast dies mourning, without you, without you. Are you going away with no word of farewell? well, will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. No, that was the last thing on my mind. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? I could have loved you better, I didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. You know that was the last thing on my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Thanks a lot.
Wait to hear some Tom Paxton. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I hope we see you in January.
You will.
All right, man. All right, next up on our docket, right up on time, one Anita Collins. Are you here, Anita?
I am here.
There you are. What have you got for us today?
Well, today I'm reading again the first half of a story, and this is a story that I wrote because my daughter asked me to write a creepypasta. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that. I had not heard of that, but basically it's a scary story that makes its way around the internet. So I don't know if I achieved scary. My daughter says I at least achieved tense. So we'll see. Okay, so this story is called Afraid of the Dark. Jessica had been afraid of the dark ever since she could remember. It was her habit to keep an eye out for the sun going down, and when it dipped below the tops of the trees that surrounded her house, she'd start preparing. One thing she did was press down the creepy little thoughts that if she let them pop to the surface, would keep her awake all night. She also held on to some of those superstitious behaviors that children practice, such as not standing too close to the bed in case something there wanted to grab her ankles. When she was ready to go to sleep, she'd take a running jump onto the bed and land as close to the middle as she could. Unless her husband Michael was home, that is. If Michael were home, she felt safe. And if she put some thought into it, which she tried not to do, she'd have to admit that she really didn't want Michael to know what a scaredy cat she was after dark. They'd only been married a little while after all. So she carried on with her routines, but kept them as quiet as she could. She made sure the closet doors were shut tight before dark and didn't open them again until morning. When the sun started going down, she walked through the house, closing blinds and turning on lamps. This part was extra important because she was terrified to see her reflection in dark glass, because in her mind, the glass would also reflect whatever malevolent spirits might be standing behind her. Jessica's adrenaline gauge ran higher than most people's, and the hairs on the back of her neck prickled constantly. It made it hard to sleep, which meant she was often awake for the worst part of the night, midnight, the witching hour. She often slept with a lamp on, even though it meant she'd wake up half a dozen times a night. Knowing her lifetime relationship with the dark, Jessica probably should have known better than to buy a house set in the middle of 20 acres of deep, dark woods. It had been love at first sight, though, for this little house in the woods. It may have had something to do with the fact that it was a bright spring morning when she and Michael toured the house for the first time. The dogwoods were blooming, their petals white sparks against the wet gray trunks of the oaks and poplars. The house had a front porch with a swing and a stone chimney that actually had white puffs of smoke coming out of it, like a storybook cottage. She and Michael called their realtor to make an offer before they'd even made it out of the driveway. Reality set in for Jessica the night they moved in. There's no dark like a deep woods dark. Their porch light was a firefly trying to light a stadium. It was all okay if Michael were home, even if she had to work the night shift at the diner where she was a cook. Michael would leave the porch light on for her and the door unlocked, and she'd race up the porch and through the door, bolting it behind her, and on up the stairs to their bedroom. She'd undress as quietly as she could and slip into her side of the bed, her heart pounding. But as soon as she slid across the cold sheet to her warm husband and come to rest behind him with her cheek between his shoulder blades, she was safe. She'd breathe in the warm, spicy scent of his soap and the day's perspiration, and the soft rhythm of his breathing would have her asleep in minutes. But Michael was a John Deere rep, which meant he was often gone overnight, visiting dealerships across the state, which meant Jessica often had to come into the house alone after her shift at the diner, unlocking the door for herself, flipping on the porch light for herself, closing the blinds, trying to not look at the dark glass, leaping onto the bed. On the worst nights, the windy, rainy ones, the wind rushing through the woods sounded like the breathing of an enormous, hungry beast. Jessica's mom said her fears were the result of watching too many scary movies as a kid, and Jessica had to admit that was probably a factor. She had loved them. Not the gory slasher films full of knives and chainsaws, but the old black and whites. There was one she'd seen a dozen times or more that starts with the protagonist losing a hand through an accident, but he gets a new hand transplanted onto his arm. Except the transplanted hand was taken from an executed murderer, and then the hand drags the hero on a killing spree. And then there's the one set in the wax museum where people are killed and their bodies are preserved in wax. And of course, no one who comes to the museum notices that the statues are murdered people, even though they look exactly like the people you saw alive just half an hour before. In the daytime, or in the company of friends, these movies were fun and silly. She'd have girlfriends over and they'd watch the movies in her parents' basement, sleep in sleeping bags with bowls of popcorn, and she and her girlfriends would shriek and giggle their way through. But the images crept into her imagination, where they grew and multiplied and morphed into darker, more ominous fears. Jessica developed her slightly crazy coping mechanisms for living in a house in the woods alone, but she hadn't been able to figure out how to cope with driving in a dark car. If possible, she always tried to leave wherever she was early enough to be home before dark. It made getting in the house easier. It meant not driving alone in a dark car. But tonight, for example, her mother had insisted on cooking supper for Jessica, all her favorite things to bribe her to stay just a little longer. Parmesan chicken, mashed potatoes, creamed spinach. There wasn't a way to wriggle out without stretching their thin bond even thinner. Jessica and her mom didn't have the kind of relationship where they told each other everything. For example, if Jessica told her mom something bad had happened, her mom would worry in a circle about it and explain to Jessica exactly where she'd gone wrong. Telling her mom her fears would be even worse, since the best advice would be just to get over it. So their conversations skimmed the surface, with hours devoted to discussing home remodeling, favorite recipes, and tips for cleaning. So here she was, driving home to North Carolina from her mother's house in Atlanta, the dark surrounding her car and Jessica too. The half-hearted glow of the dash diluted the darkness a little bit, and she was trying to focus on that light. The headlights were shining weakly ahead of her, keeping the dark at bay just long enough for Sarah to speed through. Every so often, there was a rustle and a thump in the hatch. The civilized part of Jessica's brain knew the sound was coming from a bottle of seltzer rolling around in the hatch. Surely that was it. She'd gone to the grocery store before she drove down to Atlanta, and she probably forgot to bring in one of her bags. The reptilian part of her brain, though, was pretty sure that there was something living, or worse, dead, back there making those sounds. She should stop the car at the next rest stop and check out what was in the hatch. But she knew that stopping the car and getting out into a dark, empty parking lot was not something she'd be able to make herself do. So she tried not to listen to the thumping and tried to think of other things. And that's all I have so far. More to come in January, I hope.
Great Halloween tale.
Yeah.
See what's in that trunk. Yeah. That was really a nice read. Enjoyed it.
You need to have a flashlight going up your up
Well,
your
the sunlight was trying to do that, right?
I let Wes go look.
Right, the last person on our docket today is Diane Winger. And it looks like I see Diane. Looks like you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Oops, you just muted yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear my guitar?
Yep.
Okay.
Hear you good.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna do a couple songs. I heard this one for the first time on the radio. I drive when I work. I'm not working now, but I drive a lot, do music in the schools. And it was Irene Kelly. I didn't know her, but it was September a couple of years ago when we had the big Bluegrass Festival in Raleigh, which I understood they did online this year somewhat as well. But I like this. It was a story she wrote about her father and a self-made man, and it reminded me a lot of my own grandfather. So I'm going to share it. We didn't get to Pittsburgh much. It was 30 miles away. Didn't move, there's nothing there. That's what my dad would say. He had a little basement shop and an AM radio. I heard country music and I never let it go. He took correspondence course that he got in the mail. Bonafide and filled with pride, he learned to fix things well. Just like a working man, smile like a millionaire. As the sign said, Benny's TV repair. He'd fix anything in town if he could find the parts. He taught me how to stand my ground, how to trust my heart. Mama was the only one that he ever loved. Sparkle in her hazel eyes told you just as much. He took that correspondence course that he got in the mail. Bonafide and filled with pride, he learned to fix things well. And just like a working man, he smiled like a millionaire. As the sign said, Benny's TV repair. Some things I've forgotten, some things fade away. One thing that is clear to me is burned into my brain. That sign my brother made back when we were kids, to this day still stands for who he was and what he did. He took a correspondence course that he got in the mail. Bonafide and filled with pride, he learned to fix things well. And just like a working man, he smiled like a millionaire. As the sign said, Benny's TV repair. Sometimes I almost think I see him standing there. Benny's TV repair. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got another one for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna play one I wrote no good number of years ago. My mother sent me some old notes from a cousin who was collecting family genealogy, and one of the stories, a couple of them really stuck with me, plus the one I already knew about my dad's mother. So this is a song about my female ancestors, women ancestors. And it kind of started with a dream I had one night about great Granny Bone, who was part of our Cherokee ancestry. So it's a little bit longer song, but I think I got my 10 minutes still. Thanks. Great great Granny Bone was a Cherokee woman. Sun caught the beads on her buckskin dress. They never told me one word about her wisdom. Buried her beneath the Kentucky grass. She came to me in a dream last night. Stood by my bed and called out my name. She said, "Child, you're a spirit healer." No, because I was the same. There's power in the gifts we're given. Life moves us to carry them through. Rise up and claim the power lives inside of you. Dance around the fire with the ancestral women all at home. Learn their wisdom, weave their story into your own. Grandma Lily was an orphan child. She came from Pennsylvania way. Mama was poor and her daddy was a drinker. When he died from the whiskey, they gave the children away. Sister Hannah went to California. Young Lily went to Illinois, an indentured servant to a powerful man. She toiled for him till the day he died. But her life's passion became helping children, her own lost childhood way to reach through. Rise up and claim that power lives inside of you. And dance around the fire with the ancestral women all at home. Learn their wisdom, weave their story into your own. There was cousin Meg, a mail-order bride. She sailed from Cork at the age of 13. She still played with dolls the day she landed. Bedded down with a man she'd never seen. After hanging out laundry, a storm blew in. She kept playing and forgot her chores. He beat her till she bled against the rain-soaked sheets. They had 10 children. She played no more. She passed on her love for music, sang in Irish to the full moon. Rise up and claim that power lives inside of you. Dance around the fire with the ancestral women all at home. Learn their wisdom, weave their story into your own. Great great Granny Bone was a Cherokee woman. She came to me in a dream last night. She said, "Child, you are a spirit healer. Let this world receive your light. power in the gifts we're given. Life moves us to carry them through. Rise up, claim that power lives inside of you. Rise up and claim that power lives inside of you.
Yay!
Right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Diane.
What a great group we had here today. And Wes, thank you for coordinating all this. Really, during these COVID times to do this again. Wow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see. I hope to see y'all again in January.
Is there an age limit? I have a young guitar student of mine. I wanted to, he's 12, but
No.
he likes to sing and play. He's got
No, not that I'm aware of.
All right, I'll throw it by him and see if he decides to join us too.
Yeah, well, this is just a joy to do this, you guys. I really appreciate you all showing up and doing your thing.
Are you going to play one of these times? Have you been playing other weeks when there's
I played last time because there was very few people here, and there was very obviously going to be a lot of dead air at the end of the show. I didn't bring my guitar this time because it looked like we were full up. But sometimes. But yeah, next one is will be, the fourth Thursday of January 2021, and I look forward to seeing y'all here or at the next one or the next one after that. I hope to just keep this going.
Thank you, Wes. I enjoyed your songs, Wyatt and Marie's and everybody's, and I hope we get to hear the second half of your story, Anita.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we will see you in the fullness of time.
And Danny, bye.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Still here, yeah, great stuff.